Breaking news around the Dallas Cowboys is presented today by Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping on all of Manscaped's great products, including the Lawnmower 4.0, when you use promo code COWBOYS at manscaped.com. All right, here's the breaking news per Adam Schefter. The Cowboys have been fined for OTA violations, along with the San Francisco 49ers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Dallas Cowboys. Those are the three teams being fined. We don't know exactly what caused it. It's probably either hours that were used or even some potential pad issues. I think that was happening to San Francisco. There were some pad issues there. Other quick note on this one, I have the money involved on this. The Niners and head coach Kyle Shanahan, $100,000 to the organization, $50,000 to Shanahan. That is the exact same figure that the Cowboys are being fined. Dallas gets fined $100,000. Mike McCarthy gets fined $50K. That is less than what the Jaguars were fined. It was double that figure for both the team and the head coach. So the news is the Cowboys have been fined for OTA violations, to which I say, oops, okay. You did something you apparently weren't supposed to do. You got fined. But you know what? And this is not what you're supposed to say, but I'm not tied to the organization, so I can say it. If it helps you win games in the regular season, cool. I'm glad they did that. Now, the Cowboys even called it an OTA or minicamp practice short, so whatever. $100,000 fine against the Cowboys, $50K for Mike McCarthy. It is what it is. In addition to the fines, the Cowboys have been ordered to forfeit one OTA practice in the first week of the next offseason, which, for the record, they did that this year too. They skipped one of the OTA practices. It was the minicamp one. So, okay, it's fine. Not a bit more than there's just the fine there, but not the end of the world either. Let's talk Cowboys rumors now here. Is this the Ezekiel Elliott redemption tour? I am coining this phrase today. That's what we're calling all of these stories that keep popping up around Zeke Elliott about he's going to be better this year. Will he be? I hope so. I'm giving it 3 stars. Not like he could be a whole lot worse than what he was last year, but the hype train, the buzz, the comments are all very positive right now around one of the highest paid backs in the NFL. The latest comes to us from Zeke's trainer. Now, to be fair, what else is the trainer going to say? Nah, my dude's lazy and fat. Like, he's not going to say anything negative. But I do think it's at least worth bringing up, especially when it comes up in an athletic article, and when at some level there's kind of some shade somewhat kind of thrown at Zeke from the trainer from previous workouts. Now, I think at some level we would all have to acknowledge the fact that Elliott wasn't the same guy last year. Fumbled way too often. He lacked big plays. The quarterback and offensive line was hurt. Some of those things are his fault. Some of this is the situation, which is why I don't leave him paying running backs all that much money. But here's what his trainer had to say. Quote, everybody said it, and he probably saw it and felt it himself, that he probably slowed down a little bit or lost a step a little bit or whatever. When I first got to him, Zeke's feet seemed a bit heavy. They were coming up and off the ground, but not as quick as we needed them to be. Now, he's way quicker, way more elusive, more fluent. I know he's getting better. Also, Josh Hicks said, quote, Zeke's in good shape. I agree with Dak. I agree with Tony Pollard. They see him way more than I see him. They've seen him work in practice, and they've seen him work in the offseason. I don't think Zeke has ever worked like this in the offseason. I could be mistaken, but me, personally, when it comes to my drills and what I do and how I do it, I know he hasn't worked like this. I very much hope that the trainer is correct here because I need a better Zeke Elliott than what the Cowboys saw in 2020. Now, 4 yards per carry, that's what I call jag numbers. Just a guy. That's not someone you should be paying $15 million to. And I don't expect to be able to get to 5.1 yards per carry. The offensive line isn't what it was in 2016, and that's okay. It's not the same best offensive line in the NFL. It can still be top 10 if everyone's healthy. And if that's the case, can I get to 2018 Zeke Elliott, where I can get 4.7, 4.6 yards per carry on a 200-plus sample size? If that's the case, that guy is back to the Zeke that the Cowboys initially paid. Frankly, I kind of need that Zeke back out there on the field. As I've said before, I want to make Zeke Elliott my closer. I don't want him to get the ball 20 times in the first half. I want to cut that number down and use him to wind out the clock late in games and grind the opposing team down and close finishes. In the end, I want to believe in Zeke, but we've heard this before. We've heard it several years. Oh, Zeke lost some weight. He looks quicker. Zeke's back. What, he trained in Cabo? Whatever. And it's easy to believe when we're here in July, oh yeah, best shape of life, baby. It's easy to drink that Kool-Aid. It's hot out after all, and the Kool-Aid tastes great. But I still want to just see it at least a little bit. I want to see Zeke be that guy in the regular season once again. So be honest with me, folks. Are you buying into at least the narrative being pushed out there around Ezekiel Elliott? Type Y for yes or type in N for no. Are you buying Zeke's redemption? Get your votes in for me in the comments section right now. Cowboys rumor now, will Tyler Biadasz start for the Cowboys this season? I'm giving this one 4 stars. And look, I think it's very obvious what the Cowboys are doing here. This is his job. The Cowboys literally have brought in 0 competition for Tyler Biadasz at the center position. Yes, Joe Looney had the job, got hurt, lost it. Then Biadasz got hurt, and Looney took it back over. Looney's not here right now. The Cowboys haven't added anybody outside of a 7th-round draft pick in a UDFA to compete at the center position. And his teammates, for whatever it's worth, are also offering some praise for Biadasz. Here's what Tyron Smith had to say. Quote, he's grown quick ever since his first year he came here, which the only year he's been here. Very high energy, and we love it. He's taken the role of being the center. You would think the kid has played for 4 years. Look, I appreciate that comment from Tyron Smith. I am a firm believer that a good center results in better play across the offensive line. And it is my belief that the left guard, Connor Williams, played better with Tyler Biadasz than he did with Joe Looney. Now, again, it's a very small sample size, just my opinion, but that's what I noticed on the field last season. And again, there's nobody out there on this team to really compete with Tyler Biadasz. Maybe Connor McGovern, but he's going to get some work at guard and center, so he's not a full-time guy really, I think, at either spot. He kind of taken over the Joe Looney backup interior offensive lineman role. The Cowboys, from all their moves, the things that they've done roster-wise, have handed Biadasz the job. I would not be saying that if they spent even a 4th or a 5th-round pick on a center. It was their last draft pick. They didn't sign anybody of note in free agency to be a center. Now, yes, Connor McGovern's played some, but that's not the case. Joe Looney's gone. And at this point, I don't really think he's going to come back. Now, if he does, maybe I change my mind, but these options here are just that, options. They exist, but it's not the route the Cowboys really want to go. I mentioned McGovern. He can play center. He did it some at Penn State, but he's kind of, I don't think, as well liked by this current regime because it took him forever to get on the field last year despite all of the offensive line injuries, and maybe they're prepping him to start next year at left guard if they don't keep Connor Williams. Now, Biadasz right now, and this is why I was disappointed he did not take over for Joe Looney down the stretch last year. There were promising flashes, but he's not there yet. Now, 427 snaps, there was like 1,000 something for Connor Williams, so you can double these figures to get more along the lines of a full season. Hits and sacks and hurries aren't often charged against by PFF to the center, so that number is actually a little bit high. Biadasz was not bad. If he is your worst offensive lineman or your second worst offensive lineman, you're probably in an okay shape on the offensive line. If at times last year it seemed like he was the second best, that's when things are probably a little bit more dicey. So I am excited about Biadasz. I want to see more growth. I think having an offseason, because he didn't really have one last year, in preseason and camp, will be very good for the young center, even if he's probably not going to be as good as Travis Frederick. So what is your confidence level then in Biadasz? 1 being you think he sucks. You want to get a new center in there as soon as humanly possible. 10 being you think he's actually literally a clone of Travis Frederick. Excuse me. Get your votes in. Rate this form on a scale of 1 to 10. As mentioned, today's show is made possible by Manscaped. You can get the perfect package for $87.99. That is 20% off, folks, when you go to manscaped.com and you use promo code Cowboys at checkout. That includes the new Lawnmower 4.0. Again, I'm not saying that if I didn't use Manscaped that my wife wouldn't love me and I wouldn't be having a child with her, but I'm also saying that stuff doesn't hurt. So 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Don't forget to use promo code Cowboys at checkout to get that discount. Let's stick with some more offensive line talk here. Could the Cowboys trade for some offensive guard depth? I don't mind this idea. I do find it a little bit unlikely, so I'm only going to give it the 1 star. But John Owning over the Dallas Morning News pitched this trade idea. What if the Cowboys went out and they got Ben Powers over from the Baltimore Ravens and sent, a later pick or whatever, and make Powers a backup this year, help solidify some of the lack of depth on the interior of the offensive line. Since the Ravens have incredible guard depth, they go so deep with Kevin Zeitler and Ben Bredesen and Tyree Phillips and Ben Cleveland, their latest draft pick, and even some other guys on the roster. They got great guard depth overall. So what if they trade one of them to the Cowboys and give Dallas some extra offensive guard depth? I like the idea. I do. I don't think it's likely because, A, the Cowboys don't do that many trades, and Ben Powers is still very, very cheap. So the specifics of the idea make it unlikely. The philosophy behind it, I do like it, though, quite a bit. Speaking of trades, let's have some fun here, knowing I might hate the answers. Either way, name a player who you guys want the Dallas Cowboys to go trade for. Get your votes in for me right now in the comments section. Let's head to this idea. How about the Cowboys signing Quan Alexander? Simply put, folks, fake news. It does not make sense. And if you're wondering, wait a minute, what is fake news? 0 stars, by the way, and it's official, bro. We have to change this, by the way. Wentz playoff wins. He's not in the NFC East anymore. I don't know. We'll put it on the community and make a decision at some point. I guess it could stay, too. He's got 0. It's funny. 1 star is a small shred of truth. There's some sense behind it, maybe some truth, but it's probably not going to happen. 2 stars, firmly in that rumor category. 3 stars is pretty likely. Not set in stone, but seems that way. 4 stars, Zeke eating, which also did not look very good last year. We'll figure something out there. Maybe we'll make some changes in the near future. But back to Quan Alexander here. Comes to us from Fansided. Now, this article is tough to do. 1 player each team should sign. Can't overlap the players. Makes it tough. But going with an injured linebacker doesn't make any sense to me. Quan Alexander is coming off a torn Achilles he suffered late December. So he might not be good to go in time for week 1. And did Fansided not pay attention to what the Cowboys did in the draft? They took 2 linebackers fairly early. So now there's Jalen Smith, there's Micah Parsons, there's Leighton Vander Esch, there's Keanu Neal, and there's Jabril Cox. I think ideally, Alexander probably plays weak side linebacker. You've got 3 of those guys already. Quan's probably not going to play over LBE with the way the Cowboys feel about him. Dan Quinn's going to play Keanu Neal over Quan Alexander. And why would I limit any potential snaps to Jabril Cox so quickly? Doesn't really make sense to me. Now, Quan's not a bad football player. All right, he is a solid one when healthy. The health, of course, is a major red flag there. But if you're Quan and you do get to sign somewhere, you're going to go play at a spot where you can actually play. That's not the Cowboys right now. We here at the Cowboys Report believe in telling you how it is, or at least how we think it is. Sometimes we're wrong, but we're not going to sugarcoat it and tell you, the Cowboys are great, everything's good, Ben DiNucci's going to go win the game, throw for 400 yards. No, we're not going to lie to you. We might be wrong sometimes, but we believe in telling you the truth, which sometimes upsets people, but that's how life actually is. So if you want real, unfiltered Cowboys news, rumors, and opinions, hit that big red button and subscribe today. I wanted to briefly hit as well Dak Prescott, because you know what? It's been a pretty good offseason for Dak Prescott. First, he was down at the College World Series watching his alma mater Mississippi State win the College World Series, taking home that national championship in a absolute blowout, more or less, against Vanderbilt, which is a pretty damn good baseball team, there with his girlfriend as well. And, oh, by the way, Dak also hyped up the Cowboys recently, too. Quote, "We approach the season the right way. We're just excited. We're excited that hopefully we can stay healthy, we can get good fortune on that end, and we can just put everything we've worked hard for together on all stages and all phases of the game. We're excited for this year. It's going to be very, very special for us and for Cowboys fans." Oh, how I hope that is the case. I desperately want more success, what the Cowboys have had for basically as long as I can remember, and it hasn't quite happened yet. So with that in mind, if it is special, we'll see. Predict the Cowboys record for me. Remember, 17 games, folks, so get your votes in right now.